Hi everyone, I'm Christine Josty of Mail Something Pretty, and I want to show you these really cute or adorable birthday cards. So I'm going to show you how to make them, give you a few tips, but they are, I just think the cat is just so cute. But I really like how it opens as well. And so it's kind of like a bookbinding fold, and then it has this diagonal. And so I just want to show you, before we get into the cats, I just want to show you my inspiration. I was sent both these cards from the same person, and I love the fold. And so she did this one as a Christmas, and they're slightly different. You can kind of see she used the designer series paper a little differently on this one and in this one, but they both have like that bookbinder fold with the pretty paper and this diagonal cut with a square, and I liked it. And I actually even made a Valentine's version of it using the Valentine paper, and I even added, you can kind of see this is just a plain, and I have the paper, and then I added a little bit something more, or you could add ribbon, but it's a fun fold. So that's what I wanted to show you with these cats. Each of the cats is slightly different. You can color them however you want. In this video I'm going to show you watercolor pencils, but you could use blends markers, you could use chalks, you could use however you wanted to color them. So let me actually show you kind of where I got the supplies first, and then we'll get into the video. So this is a stamp set. It is in the new 2023 Occasions catalog. Page 67, here it is. There's no dies, so if you need it cut out, we just use scissors. And there are two samples here showing different ways of making. I've made a few different cards with both actually, and I'll be posting pictures online, but it's a fun set. And then since I have this out here, the paper, this printed paper that I used, this is from the, what's it called, Dandy Designs pack, and it is from the Sale-a-bration catalog. So it's free with a $100 order, but you get so much paper. You get 4 sheets of 12 different designs, and really it's double-sided, so you get 24 designs. You get 48 sheets of paper, and it's fun. You can kind of see the patterns and so forth, but it's kind of fun paper to use with. So that's where I got that stuff. All right, so let's get to it, as they say. So I'm going to use, for this one, I'm using Parakeet Party, but you can actually see, so that's Parakeet Party. I also use Granny Apple Green because I felt that this paper kind of had 2 tones in it, so you can use whichever color. And sorry if I'm making any noise. I forgot to take out my paper trimmer. Okay, so we're going to start with a 4 1/4 by 11 piece of cardstock. So it's just cut in half, but the long way. And we are going to score that right in half like normal. So at 5 1/2, but we're also going to score it at 6 3/4. So, oh, that's ripped. So we want this to go on the, actually, I'm just trying to think, I'm going to cut some of it off. Let's just put it on the back side. So we're going to do 5 1/2 and, what did I say, 6 3/4. So we made this card at Club, and I accidentally scored it wrong. So I can even show you. So this is the size that we want. So you get a nice 4 by 4 on the inside. I mistakenly, instead of doing the 1 1/4, I did 1. And so when we put them together, we noticed that this was a 1/4 inch bigger, which is fine. So I just centered it. So you have a little leeway of how you want your bookbinding to be. All right, so hopefully you can see this. I have that's the half. I have a score here, and I have a score line here. So that's where it's going to open. So right where this score line meets the top in this corner is where we're going to make the cut. So I'm going to put that score line right in my cutting track, as well as the tip, the corner of the paper, and then that's how I'm going to cut off my diagonal. And that's how you make that cut. Pretty easy. All right, so we're done with that. And I have things everywhere. I have, like I said before, the 4x4 is going to go right on the inside, and you can make that any color you want. I actually think I'm just going to glue this down now. I'm just going to put some glue right in here and close that shut. Just give it a second. All right, and so my other pieces, I decided to use Coastal Cabana because I kind of mimicked, let me get it, this polka dot paper, again, from that same pack. You can see some of the designs. And the reason why I really like the polka dot of the stamp, so I mimicked the polka dot of the binding here. And so that's kind of where I started choosing my colors. So this, since this is a 1 1/4, this is 1 inch thick by 4. We'll put that on there. And again, you can kind of add as much as little doodads if you want some gems or anything like I did with this Valentine. I actually put another strip of thin paper. Kind of have fun with it. And I'm just going to put the inside in now. Oops. Throwing my glue everywhere. And that fits in there because that becomes a 4 1/4 inch square. So that 4x4 fits in there real nicely. And so then I cut my pattern paper 3x3. Now you have lots of leeway. If you wanted a bigger design or a smaller design, you can put whatever you want. But this is kind of the basics of the bookbinding. Maybe you should call it a diagonal bookbinding fold. So you can put whatever you want on here. I decided, for the sake of conserving my paper, I cut this 3x3 because it's a 12x12 piece of paper, so I was able to maximize 16 pieces? Am I saying that right? No, 12 pieces of one piece of paper. So then this became 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. But again, you can do however you like. Okay, so now that I have that on there, I'm going to stamp my cat. So I've decided to use watercolor pencils. So I have some pencils here. So because of that, I'm going to use Stays On black ink. Whenever you want to introduce water, which is with the watercolored pencils, or if you're using like a blender pen with an ink pad, you want to use Stays On. If you want to color your cat in with the blends markers, then you want to use the Memento black because that works better. And so I'm also using, I don't know if you can see, there's a little shimmer, so it's the shimmery white paper, because this holds up to watercoloring better than the regular white. All right, and I cut this 2.5 by 2.5 because you can choose. You could use just like I did here. I just put the whole cat on the front, or you could cut the cat out with scissors and do it like that. So you have some options. So I know, because I made a few of these, I'm going to line up the bottom of the rubber of my stamp with actually the bottom of the paper, because I just kind of cut it. I'm actually going to move a little closer to me so I can see what I'm doing. There we go, and then we got our stamp there. So I'll give that a second to dry, and I will pull out my coloring tools. So again, I have my coloring pencils, I have a water painter, I actually have a little dish of water, and a paper towel. And so I'll show you also, the watercolored pencils are found, there's actually 2 packs, or they call them assortments, and you get different colors in each assortment. So they're page 126 of the annual catalog. And so I have both, and so I probably have mixed up the 2 colors of each, but you just choose whichever colors that you have. All right, so, and this, I like doing this because you can really kind of make your cat different colors. So each of these this one's just gray, this one's kind of brown and gray, this one's more brown, so you can kind of customize your cat. So I'm going to do 2 colors just so you can see kind of how I blended them together. And I'm not going to color perfectly. As you can see, it kind of just looks like I'm scribbling. And because we're going to use the water painter, we can kind of move the color around a little bit. I actually like leaving his belly kind of empty, or I shouldn't say empty, white. The cats that I used to have had white bellies. They were more tabby cats, but they had white bellies. So I am just coloring over, so you can see I had brown and gray. I'm gonna put a little brown on there. Maybe I'll make a brown tail. Again, nothing special about this coloring. And I will make my cupcake liner green just to match my paper. But some of the others, I'll pull them out again, have different colors. And then I'm going to do my polka dots different colors. But I just want you to see how fun it is to kind of use the water painters with the watercolor pencils. Again, nothing special about my coloring. I'll put green here. So I have a little coastal cabana, or actually it might be Bermuda Bay, but it's just, they're similar colors. And a little purple, I think it's gorgeous, great. A little pink, not too much pink because I think I've been making a pink balloon. Again, so where there's darker lines, that's kind of where I do darker, but I generally kind of color in on the lighter side. We'll make his hat yellow, and we'll do the rest of these blue. Okay. Now, if I was going to leave it like that, it's kind of not the best coloring, but we're going to blend them around. So these water painters, they used to be called aqua painters. That's why I get mixed up. They're now called water painters. The old ones were blue, had blue tubes. These ones have clear, and they work the same. These ones, it will actually say push, so you can unscrew them, and they kind of screw opposite what you think, so you don't leak the water. But you just unscrew them. You can put water in them and screw them back in, and then you could push here, and then some water would come through the brush. My water has just drained out, and so then I get a little lazy, so I just put a little cup of water. So I kind of use it like a paintbrush. I just add a little dab of water. So I'm going to start with my gray. So it's my lighter color of the brown and the gray. I tend to color in the circular motions. You can kind of experiment a little bit, and you'll see in a second how they blend around. All right, so I kind of get my gray swirled in there. I forgot to do his nose. So now I'm going to pick up a little brown, and this is where you're going to see kind of blending together. So you can blend as much or as little as you want. So if you want to keep it darker, blend a little less. So I'm going to pull out some of the brown out here. Hopefully you can see this. I'll pull a little bit of color up into that arm because I forgot to color it. You can kind of see it there. Bring it down to its nose, ears. Oh, I forgot to color his tie. All right, so I have to go back. Let me do a little pink for the nose. Just a little bit, because the pink goes a long way, and I'll do the blue tie. Okay, so then after the coloring, I just kind of like a paintbrush, clear it, and if there's any extra color on my brush, it would come off on the paper towel. So watch this pink, because this really, you can see the difference. I'm going to start with the lighter side first. Look at that, and then the darker. So these, and I'm just going to go down into these pink polka dots. The water painters come in a 3-pack. So this is kind of the middle size. There's a smaller pointy brush like this, and then this one that has a wide brush for doing like backgrounds and a nice wash. All right, I'm going to start. I'll do the green. I tend to usually do the lighter colors first, because then sometimes I don't have to color it in between depending on the colors. So I had a little bit too much water on here. You can kind of see, but that's all right. Yeah, I'm bleeding a little bit in that pink. So if you have too much water, if you find that you have a pool of water, you can actually take the tip of your paper towel and it will suck some of it out. I didn't have quite that much. Oh, I forgot to do, I'll do the yellow first, and then I'll go in the green because those are similar colors. All right, and then, again, I just want a little water. We'll do the blue. I could color for hours. I really like it. And I should have done this first to give it time to dry instead of putting my whole card together. Ooh. All right. Oh, I forgot to do this. All right. Oh, in his nose. Okay, now I'm done. All right, so I'm going to put the cover on my water so I don't spill it. Give that a second to dry. It really doesn't take that long depending on how much water you have. How about I stamp on the inside, give that a second to dry. I can actually put that on there too. Okay, I'll do that. So I have it, it kind of works out. I didn't do this on purpose, but I can match this corner to this line and this corner to that line. So that's kind of how I'll put it on there, and then you kind of have a similar border all the way around. So if you have an imaginary diagonal line going here, I want to just put glue on this part. I'm going to flip that over, but I'm not going to go all the way up to that line in case when I put it together I was a little off. So like my corner and corner, so that diagonal line is really here, so I'm putting the glue on the inside of it. And this glue, you know, is super strong, so that's probably way too much anyways. So I'm going to match that corner to that line and that corner to that line. I'm going to slide it up a little bit and press. So then when you open it, hopefully it doesn't, there's no, oh, don't do what I did, darn it. I put the wrong diagonal on there. Shoot. All right. So this is how I'm going to fix it later. I'm going to put another piece of 4x4 right on top of that. I'm not getting rid of that. And then this, let's see, what do I have up here that I could kind of scrape off? Not much. My bone folder. Let's take at least some of this extra glue off. Darn it. So hopefully as I was doing that you understood. Now you really should understood. I put the glue on my diagonal, but look, I didn't glue it on the right diagonal. Silly. Silly, silly. So let me just put a little glue there, so at least that will stick. What I can also do to fix this, I can just cut another piece of paper, and that's probably what I'll do, and I'll just put it on the inside. So I'll probably put I have nothing extra up here. I'll probably put an extra piece right up there. I actually do have extra white, so let me cut that, because when I close it, at least it won't stick closed, hopefully. All right. Let's just put some glue right there. We'll cover up this mistake. Mistakes can be fixed, most of them. Okay, I got water. I am like out of practice. I didn't do any videos in December, and so now this is like almost mid-January, and I'm a little out of practice. But that's okay. Okay, so this now is dry, so that worked out. So there are two ways. I actually filmed a video earlier showing this too. Some people tell me that they have trouble cutting out. So one option is you could take a pencil and trace, giving white space all the way around. I'm going to move my paper so I can see it. I tend to move my paper a lot so I can see better rather than trying to move my head. So if you trace around, Some people are having trouble with that string. Oh, I could have left it, right, and put it on here directly, but I traced it, and so now you're just going to cut directly on the line. So the other thing, notice that my scissors stay in the same spot and my paper is what gets twirled around. So moving my paper, my scissors are staying in the same spot, but I'm cutting on that line. So I can actually, because I have that line, I can even do this pretty quickly. I don't really have to think. And if I was 100% prepared, I would have had another cat out. Not cat out. I would have had another cat cut out. Yikes. But I wanted to show you how to do this. So some people call this fussy cutting. I like to cut, so I don't think it's so fussy. Okay, so that was fairly quickly. Okay, so now I'm going to use dimensionals. And so what I'm going to do is, these happen to be mini. If I didn't have mini ones, I would just cut dimensionals, but these ones actually fit pretty well on the hat and the balloon. And then I'll just kind of put a few on the corners and maybe 2 in the middle. Only because this is probably usually way more dimensionals than I usually use, but because we cut it and it's curling a little bit, I just want it to sit flat. And then before I put that down, I actually already stamped, and this I did ahead, stamped happy birthday from the set. This happy birthday right here. Cut it out with a die that I had. I think it's from the All That set, but you can just, or just cut it with scissors. I'm going to put this on first. Gonna center that. I'm using the lines of the paper to guide my eye. And then we'll put this on there. So now we can kind of center him. I just think it's so cute. And then for the inside, I'm going to use the one that I have on a block. All the At Rest, I think, said, wishing you all the wishes. This one happens to say, it's the best day because it's your birthday. And when I stamp, I want it to be below this line so that you don't see it when it's closed. Okay, so there you go. So I will fix that. I'm just going to put another piece of paper on top of it. And then here are the different colored cats. They're all a little bit different. They all have different hats and cupcake liners and so forth. So I hope you liked the tips. I hope you enjoyed my mistake, but how I fixed it. And want to make this card, so it's kind of fun. I really like that fold. So I think that's all I had here to show you. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, just pop them in the comments. Be sure to subscribe on my the notifications so you get them when I post a video, as well as visit my blog at mailsomethingpretty.com, and you can sign up for my mailing list. Have a wonderful day and have fun making your kitty cat birthday cards. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.